Good morning. This is Carmen Lita Scott, President and CEO of the ATL Airport Chamber. Welcome to Friday Facts. Our media partners this morning are Focus Atlanta and Kestrel Strategies. Capital Analytics produces Focus Atlanta, which is the most comprehensive investor's guide on the Atlanta metro area. The 200-page report looks at all major sectors and the investment opportunities in the market. After the webinar, I will send a link to this resource. Today, Friday Facts will address the SBA application process. Our keynote speaker is Sam Dada, co-founder and principal PGV advisor, will provide essential information on the SBA application process. As a principal of PGV, Sam co-leads their national team of professionals as well as developing the Atlanta and Houston market segment. Sam faces every challenge with sheer tenacity and conviction to succeed. As a senior executive and board member, Sam builds enterprise value by reducing operating costs, finding new revenue streams through new channels, new markets, new products, and expanding the global footprint. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to present Sam Dada.
It is unavoidable, but we are certainly going to see, unfortunately, a lot of bankruptcies and foreclosures because it is difficult when everything is stopped for a month. In general, a lot of businesses, if you don't have any revenue for 10 days, you don't have the cash flow. And that is the purpose for the government to provide you 2 months of rent, utilities, and salaries to stay open. As we just said, 29 million companies did not receive that. So it's only 2 to 3% companies receive this money. So you can't wait for the government to give you this money. So our recommendation will be, think outside of the box. What other things are available for you to get capital? So I'll list some of the things that's at your disposal you should be considering during this time. Number one, you should have all your records done properly, whether it's a tax return, whether it's your financial, checks and balances, all your books. Get it clean. This is the time, and make sure you have those filed as much as possible. Number two, look into your existing loans. You might have SBA loans. You might have equipment loan. You have you're paying mortgages. I'm sure the small businesses, you should be calling your lender and your landlord and push out your mortgage payment for 3 months. They're giving it to a lot of the lenders. They said, okay, next 3 months you don't have to pay because of this situation. However, that doesn't mean it's waived. After 3 months, you'll start paying more. So you'll have a payment plan for that. But at least you get some kind of relief so you're not cash strapped. So those are the things that you should be doing, calling utility companies, calling landlord, calling lenders to push out the payment as much as possible. Get it in writing. That's very critical with your account numbers and everything. That's number one. Number two, look into your existing loans. And this is also a time to refinance. If you're paying high interest loans for your businesses, whether it's an equipment loan, whether it's an SBA loan, the interest rate has gone down. The value to the lending is also went up. SBA now lends almost 90% of the value. So there are options there. Now, the best option, again, your existing bank, but unfortunately, most of the banks don't have any bandwidth to do anything now because of this PPP. So you got to have some relationship. If your bank is not doing, really look into your small community bank. If you don't have connections, would be able to help you. We can also help you process all those. That's what we do for a living. For those, to help you guide what can be done. And we got hundreds of banks that we actually look into. Those are not brick and mortar, but they're SBA lenders. So we process them so we know there are a higher chance of getting approved. The key important thing, your credit rating, your financial settings, how much of equity you have, all those matters of any loans you take from anybody. However, the options are you have a signature credit loan. So signature credit loan is mainly with your bank. If you have a good running business, it has to be a profitable business. Um, Generally, the bank gives you a line of credit. If you have not taken advantage, you should really look into that. They give you up to $100,000, depends on the sales. So that's called signature credit. On April 9th, there's a new loan program SBA has introduced. It's called Main Street Loan or Main Street Program. What is this? This is for a little bit of mid-sized large companies. The loan has to be $1 million or more. So you really look into from your size, and the way they are looking into is very simple: your profitability. If you have $250,000 EBITDA, which is earning before income tax, depreciation, amortization, multiplied by 4, that's $1 million. So they're looking for a minimum 250,000 EBITDA of the business, or profit on that. And however, there are also limitations. If you have another loan, then you cannot use this loan to pay off. So there are ways to get it if you're not stretched out. If you have equities, these are the programs you should be thinking about. Number 3, your SBA 7A program, which is very standard, working capital. SBA 504, buildings and equipments. So if you have those, refinancing, if you have free and clear, it's even better. You can get a line of credit. So if you need to use, you can use it, using your assets as a collateral. Equipment leasing, so renegotiating with the equipment leases. Accounts receivable factoring. If you're a business that you have significant accounts receivable and you never had to do factoring because you've been very profitable, but unfortunately you need some money, at least this is the time you can get some, AR factoring, accounts receivable factoring. Those are called asset-based lending. So they look into your inventory, your accounts receivable, sometimes your equipment, and using those as a collateral, they give you money. Purchase order financing. Might be you have a company that you have received good purchase order, but you don't have the capital to buy the material or the labor that you need to fulfill, but you have a signed purchase order from a credible company, from a credit-worthy company. You can take that and you can actually finance those. Those are called PO financing. Again, the interest rate is high. Last but not the least, there are also bridge loans. So the bridge loans are, you have a business and profitable business, you show it's steady, you have your wealth is also in a good condition, and you need some, for next 6 months, some kind of relief to get to the next level. So there are, bridge loans available. There are investors that give you bridge loans. There are financial institutes give you bridge loans. Yes, interest rates are high. So any SBA loans, interest rates are low. Anything like accounts receivable factoring, it is significantly high. But again, cash is king. If you have cash, you can survive. It is very difficult otherwise to continue. So and I'm going to stop here. And I think the better thing will be I would hear questions from you, your specific questions, and how I can guide you. What are the things available for your business? And hopefully, let's for the next 45 minutes to 1 hour, let's have those discussions. So hopefully that will benefit you the most.
Sam, thank you so much for this valuable information. And what we're going to do, as everyone's putting their questions in the chat box, we're going to hear from our media sponsor, Kestrel Strategies. So Deanna, go ahead.
Thank you, Carmelita.
You are very welcome.
I hope everyone is doing great and staying safe today. Thank you guys for joining us on the Zoom. I'm Deanna Harris with Kestrel Strategies, and we are your one-stop shop. So thank you, Mr. Sam Data, for coming as well. We appreciate you. I am the managing partner for Kestrel Strategies, and we were built on, we were founded based on companies like the ones that support the Atlanta Airport Chamber. We're here for all small businesses. We help connect you with different resources, helping with governmental affairs. We also assist with outreach, community outreach, public relations issues, or everything under that umbrella. Please, I can share my information. Our website is www.contractkestrel, so contract, KESTREL.com. And my email is harris@contractkestrel.com. Would love to take any questions for anyone. And again, thank you, Mr. Dada, for being here. Thank you, Ms. Scott, for hosting this event. We really look forward to being able to help each and every individual business. There's so many things going around. I know that today is the day that Georgia is supposed to open back up, and some small businesses have chosen not to, and some have chosen to open up. So we just want to be able to help everyone with resources, keep everyone safe, and really get our economy going back where in the right direction, where it needs to go. Previously, we were doing very well as small businesses and in our economy in America, and especially in Georgia. And I think that the information that Mr. Dada has provided us is very vital, especially for people who haven't had any SBA loans before, or if you're a 1099 employee, or if this is new to you, because of course this is unprecedented grounds that we're all on. We've never seen anything like this before, but we still want to stay in business and keep operating like we have been before. I believe that coming up, we'll have a June 9th election. I hope that everyone is registered to vote, or you've sent in your absentee ballot application. Absentee ballots should have been hitting everyone's mailboxes this week and need to be sent back as soon as possible for the June 9th election. And from the words that I've been hearing, we should be back to finish the session around June 11th after the election. So if you've had some legislation that you were keeping track of, or if you had some new inquiries, of course, because things have become a lot different. And I know that our budget for the state of Georgia is the #1 priority, and it has changed a lot considering that we've lost so much income within the past 2 months. Please just drop me a line, a question, if you have any questions that you want answered about what we would look like going forward, and what possibilities could happen for next year for session beginning in January, because we still don't know how long this will last. And again, like I said, we're Kestrel Strategies, and we do government relations, public engagement, community development, and PR work as well for small businesses. So thank you for having me here today.
You're very welcome. So Sam, back to you. Our first question is, the company files an affiliate tax return, but each affiliate has its own FEI number. Can I apply for an EIDL loan for each company?
It can be. However, you need to show them that you are also associated with those other companies. I think anything over 20% ownership, you have to disclose those. As long as each EIDL, each Federal ID number have their own employees, you can file for those. If the employees are all part of one company, the only one you should be able to apply is for the people where the employees reside, the W-2 employees, very critical.
So Sam, what's the maximum amount of collateral?
So for collateral, you're talking about EIDL, Ms. Scott, right?
I believe the caller is, yes, sir.
Yeah, so there is no guidance of EIDL. Now, what they're saying that if you get a loan up to $200,000, there will be no personal guarantee needed for the loan up to $200,000. Anything over $200,000, they will ask for collateral. So means it'll be regular. It can go up to 90% of the value of the collateral. So they'll look into properties, they're looking into inventories and other things. But first $200,000 of loan, they're not asking for any personal guarantee.
So would a contract be considered collateral?
Yes, it should be.
If you receive the PPP, what do you need to do to track and report in order to convert the loan to a grant to show
Okay.
it was used for 75% payroll?
So it is, again, I think, people who has employees and you have W-2, every quarter there is called a 941 tax return. Your payroll company will file quarterly. So once you receive the money, every month you send those, so you have a report whether you use ADP or for other system, they'll give you a report how much you're paying those employees. And at the end of the quarter, you'll get a 941 report, which totals everything. That's all. A monthly payroll report and a 941, that should cover you. And those are the two things. If you submit, after 2 months or 3 months, and then this will be converted to a grant. Now, again, obviously, nobody has gone through that process. So if the SBA changes the process again, I'll tell you one thing: the whole application process, both the EIDL and PPP, in the first 15 days, first 9 days, the EIDL was closed to take new application. First after 20 days, and PPP was closed after 9 days. The money was gone. But they changed at least 5 times the process and the law. Application got changed, interest rate got changed, terms got changed. There's so many things has come up. So hopefully it has stabilized. And then again, that's where it is. So we believe as long as you provide your 941 and a monthly payroll, that's all you need.
So what else is available for the small business?
So for the small business, as we just said, I went through this. There are quite a lot of this. It depends on the size of the small business. The new one came in as a Main Street program, which is minimum loan amount is $1 million. Now it's just a 0% interest, 0 plus 2 to 4%. So maximum, your interest rate will be 4%. We believe you're probably going to get the interest around 2.5% or 3%. So it's a very cheap interest rate, but it has to be $1 million or more, and you cannot use this money to pay off another loan. So it's an operating capital if your company is making money or made money in last year or last couple of years. So that's the process. That's really a great loan program. You should look into different SBA 7A, which is a working capital loan, SBA 504, which is the building and equipment refinancing. You certainly look into your accounts receivable factoring and purchase order financing. These are very basic things for any companies that you should be looking into. Now, another thing that I wanted to bring it up, if this is also a great time, and the people who are financially strong, small businesses, and certain businesses, take an example. A lot of retail companies are struggling, but also a lot of grocery stores are minting money, right? They're hiring and the prices are up on many products, they're minting money. So if you have a good financial backing, and you can get together with few people that have good financial strength, this will be a great time of acquisition because you're going to get great buys. So when you have an acquisition, SBA has a wonderful program, SBA 7A program for new acquisitions. So look into as an opportunity also. There are different loans available for new things.
So Sam, if you're a small business and you've already received the PPP and you did not include workers' comp in the numbers, can you go back and ask more funding to cover the workers' comp?
Very good question. I haven't seen anybody done that yet, but yes, you should try. And the only way to do that, the bank who has issued it, see if they can allow you to add and increase the amount, the same lender use. But yes, you should try. Again, very few people have received the PPP money, but this is really a good question.
Are there any fintech companies that are really promoting their product to the small business community? So For example, if you went to your local bank and you did not receive approval, possibly you could go to a fintech company instead?
If you absolutely, there are Lendios, then Harvest, there are River Rock, there are tons of small companies, small banks and the lenders, they're promoting these things. So you have to find those companies. And again, we have some access of those companies because we do this for a living. So we know which banks are doing it or not. And it's changing because of the number of volume is going through. So yes, to answer your question, yes. However, you still, look into your community bank, credit unions. Those are generally should be, wherever you live, if there is any local community bank, and if you have a relationship, utilize some of your relationship this time. This is actually very important. That it should not be this way, but unfortunately, people try to give money people, right? So even the banks that you are doing business, a lot of the banks said we're not taking any more application. However, the smaller banks, and there's not much volume going through them, and they should be happy to do because their objective is eventually you can probably become their client. So building those relationships with financial institutes, this time the local banks, local small banks, community banks, minority banks, are actually a very good thing for this time.
Do we have any other questions in the chat box? Did I miss anyone? Okay, so with the government saying that we can open up in the state of Georgia today for certain businesses, and the executive orders have restrictions on doing that, how do you think it's best for those businesses to make sure they're in compliance with those orders? Is there somewhere they can look to find out what the executive order actually says?
I do not have that answer. So might be Deanna or someone might be able to answer.
So yes, people can log on to the governor's website, and there is a copy of the executive order. We can possibly send out a link as well, and I can put it in the chat box for you guys. But there's a direct link to his executive order that has been signed with the stipulations for each individual business that has been allowed to open, which I believe includes most of the beauty industry, so hair and nails and barbershops, tattoo studios, bowling alleys have been allowed. Restaurants will be allowed on Monday, and those requirements have not come out yet. But the ones for all the other businesses have been advised. And like I said before, social distancing is just something to continue to practice even when you're not at work, and just healthy standards. And I think that most hairstylists and barbers already have practiced those habits before, just to be able to keep their clients happy and healthy as well. And this is prior to COVID-19 outbreak. So just practicing those same healthy habits with wearing gloves and wearing a mask and having individual appointments, private appointments, and less than 10 people in a room or in a facility. Those are all important standards that the governor has laid out. And if a person can be in compliance with those, I think they will be able to do well. And I'll put that link in the chat in one moment.
Okay, also in the chat is the information for Sam Data. So if you needed his information, it's in the chat box also.
Thank you, Ms. Scott. And again, the one thing, Ms. Scott, I wanted to urge you, if you have any questions related to this and you need any guidance, please feel free to call us. We won't charge any penny to help. We have been taking, each of our executives are probably taking 50 to 60 calls a day. So email is preferred and we'll respond very quickly. But again, schedule some time. Would love to help you any way we can. We're fortunate to help, and I have been in this kind of meetings almost every week, 3 or 4 of those, spreading the news. Help your friends, help the other companies that you know. if a lot of people don't know, especially a lot of minority companies have some of this information, read the news that PPP is available. So let's apply for the PPP. A lot of other loans are available, but they need to get their paperwork ready before you do that. And we can guide them. We have tons of companies, they're like, they never had loans in their life. And they're coming back to us and they own free and clear some of the properties. And we have been guiding, this is probably the best time. Interest rate is low. At least have a line of credit. If you don't need it, great. But if you need it, you know where to fall back. You can pay back because your business has been good. So some of the things, some of those advices that they should be doing this. All small businesses, mid-sized businesses should be doing this, and also building a good relationship with the bank, because some of the big banks now, unfortunately, and I don't blame them either, because they're not equipped. Some banks do probably 1,000 loans a year. In 1 week, they got 5,000 applications. How do you expect them to manage? They don't have the bandwidth. They don't have the manpower. And even a lot of them are working from home now. And so it's just like catch-22. So Wells Fargo, if you recall, after PPP came out, within 48 hours, they came back and said, we're capped out. We're closing it. We're not going to take any application. No, they didn't do the right thing. They pushed their own, favorite clients to get the loans, and they should not be even getting the loans. Unfortunately, this was more designed for small businesses. However, the government also hasn't given good instructions to the bank. So it's not, I'm not pointing fingers, but it is, unfortunately, we're in unprecedented time. So even Congress, Senate, SBA, banks, they're all trying to perfect this process in the speed what we are going into. So don't get discouraged, by blaming anybody ain't gonna do anything. I would think this is the best time to strategize what's good for your business. How do you optimize your cost structure? How do you optimize your certain finances, get a better rate? How do you push out some of your payment by calling the lenders and the banks, and then utilize all the different techniques that I have talked to, and I'm sure you probably have heard a few more. Try those things. There are also loans available from your city, counties, and the state. Go to their website. You're going to find, like City of Atlanta, have put $1.5 million for small businesses to apply for those loans. And if you're in those cities, go talking to those the city officials, and there's probably something there for you. But you have to, don't wait. If you find something, get the form, and mainly it's online. Go apply quickly, because it is the number game at the end. Again, that's also unfortunate. But there's not an open pot for everybody to take the money or get the money. So to me, I always don't think about free money or anything. Think about what programs available and how do you optimize all your different finances, your cost structures, and think about in future, how can you grow? I'll give you some examples that this might be good things for some other companies to look into. So, PPEs, these masks, gloves, a lot of different things that are hard to find. You can't find those. So if you have some capital, and if you have a know-how, and if you are in some kind of related industries, go start a process on manufacturing. You'll get a loan for doing that. But you will have a huge demand. There are certain things, when this economy happens, some industries are going to do very well. Some industries is going to be, tough for them. They'll come back. Tougher people always come back. But you need to think about, a lot of opportunities are also going to come in. Manage your business. Reach out to the advisors. Reach out to the people who are successful, and your friends. They can advise you. Mrs. Scott's office, Deanna's office, we're here, and there are lots of those that we are, I had small business for most of my life, and I have turned around many, many companies. And so been to both sides of this, and I'm still in a small business of my own compared to many big businesses. But we follow the same rules. How can I optimize my business? How can I grow my business, even with the tougher time? So when I think all those, I think you're going to find your solution.
Okay, Sam, I don't see any more questions in the chat box. Again, thank you for sharing this valuable information. If you'd like to reach Sam, the information is in the chat box.
Hey, Carmelita.
Yes.
Hi. I hate to do this because I came in the middle of everything. Hi Sam. Did Sam already respond to for those who've already applied to the SBA that have been waiting for since then for quite a few weeks and have not yet heard back from Sam?
Yes.
And we don't know what to do or where to call.
Yeah, and a very good question, Ms. Reeves. So I hope you're talking about the EIDL and EIDL. When you applied, you got a number, registration number or confirmation number. That's all you got. A lot of our people got $10,000. If you haven't heard anything, you will hear something. They're still very slow. They didn't have enough money in the pot. They just added $75 billion in that pot. So you'll hear, watch for the email, hope it doesn't go to a spam folder. And most likely what they will ask, because the application, original application for EIDL was pretty long. We knew that's all they needed. And we knew they ain't gonna do it in 5 days and get you money, because it's not possible. And after 9 days, they change the form. It's a very small form. Within 20 minutes, you can fill it out. But that doesn't give you the money. They need more information. So you're going to get an email, and they're going to ask for a lot of information. Upload those information, mainly your tax return, mainly your how many employees that you have, income statement, and few other related information, mainly payroll information. And those are standard information you should be uploading. That's the idea. PPP goes through your bank or the bank that you've chosen. No confirmation once you apply. They just don't give you. And every bank, it is so unfortunate, every bank has their own processes because they're trying to adjust to this, right? They're taking the information, they just don't know how to connect those information to SBA system, what they need. And we work with almost 100 banks, and I'll tell you, every day I find new processes. And asking our client, can you fill those out this again? It's very unfortunate. The process is so mismanaged. Anyway, you don't get a confirmation. The time you get a confirmation, one is if you have a relationship with the bank where you applied, they generally can give you. Like all our people that we applied through those certain banks, and it's a front end, we know where their application is. Has it been completed? It has gone through underwriting, and now it's waiting. That's all you can get from the bank, unless SBA, which will reopen again after yesterday's confirmation, probably this weekend or Monday, and they will take, based on the money available and all the applications completed, and I don't know who, that's not we have no visibility how they're doing it, but you are going to get what you call an E-Tran number if SBA approved this PPP. And that E-Tran number is golden. Means once you get an E-Tran number, you're going to get funded. If you don't get an E-Tran number, that means your application didn't process through SBA. That's all I can tell you. So it's so unfortunate, Ms. Reeves, that we are in business. We know how much money we have in our bank. Who are we paying? Whether the check got cleared or not. It's pretty easy to monitor those things. But in this situation, they have reached out to 4,600 banks. The banks even don't have the system. They're trying to manage, just take the applications. They don't know even how to process those, what information to ask. Instructions are there, but no training has been done. And it's been pushed so quickly. And now there is a shortage of money. On this other hand, there are 30 million companies. If you step back, if we, and again, hypothetically, this would have been, and I know Deanna is here from a lobbying perspective, and that's probably one of the reasons. And all of you, we all should be reaching out to our congressmen and congresswomen and the senators to really do it right. The way we should think about, because I'm like you, I'm also a business person, practical. What works, what doesn't it work, we know because we have been in day to day on the ground. From if they used it like, okay, the company size from $50,000 yearly revenue to $250,000 yearly revenue, give them $25,000. That would have taken them for 2 months without any issue. Company's revenue size, based on tax return, revenue size, 250,000 to $1 million. Give them 100,000 as a loan. They would have easily done that. And if we created a band, if we spent $2 billion or $2 trillion, almost 20 million small companies would have got that money by now. Instead, the first $350 billion, only million company got it. Out of that, 70% of the money went to the top 1% of the company. This is so unfortunate. So this is a common sense solution was there, but that hasn't been implemented or thought through. So that's the way politics works, unfortunately. But again, I wanted to raise what we hear from the market, what we hear from small businesses, what we hear from common sense CEOs. That's their advice. I said that would have been so easy to get that money out like that. And people would have been still fine with 25,000, 50,000, 100,000 loans, small companies, and they could have stayed alive for next 3 months without doing anything. There shouldn't be that many unemployment if that money have gone out, in the month of March. This is almost end of April. Hardly anybody got any money.
Okay, thank you for that. My final question is that I have a network of small business owners, and a few of them are self-employed with no employees per se, just themselves, employee. So when they filled out the SBA application the first time, and it had asked the questions, how many employees do you have? They had put 0. Mm-hmm. So now my question to you is, should they go ahead and refill out a completely new SBA, the EIDL application, and then change that to 1? Or should they just leave it as is, as 0, and maybe take the risk that they will not be considered to get part of that SBA loan? And that's my final question.
Yeah, no, that's okay. Ms. Ray, your background is way better than mine. Beautiful place you're in. I'm glad. No, the unfortunate part is EIDL has been closed. I don't know whether it's been reopened or not. So you can't even go in and do anything. And if it allows you, yes, go ahead, do that and show 1 employee. Because that will at least, I'm telling you, if you put in 1 employee, you're going to get $1,000, not more than that. That's the way they're looking into. That is what I call, it is unfortunate, it's a small group. I can tell it in my mind what I'm thinking. In a reality, it became an economic injury disaster loan, the EIDL. And now I'm saying this loan is a disaster. It just does not help anybody. And you spend all the time and effort and still nothing coming out. I probably have a handful of people, they got maximum $10,000 so far. And it was promoted as a loan for small businesses from $25,000 to $2 million. And originally we were in that meeting, they were discussing, or based on revenue, based on industry, we can assign a loan and give it to them. I said, perfect, that's the model, as I was expecting. Nobody got that. They still don't have, how to assign these loans to who.
So Sam, we're not going to let you go. You said something that struck a chord, so now we have plenty of questions for you.
Sure.
Okay, this time around, will the turnaround for funding be quicker?
Don't know. I think the turnaround will be good. I think even the last time what happened, once you got the E-Tran number, 3 to 5 days you got your money. And we know the people who got the money, the PPP. So mainly on the PPP, that's where the money is now. EIDL, I would say forget it, whatever you did, because it's closed now. But the PPP, we believe now they have done this process. They have actually given money and transmitted money, so they understand the process better. So I still think it's going to take 3 to 5 days after you receive the E-Tran.
So Sam, right now on the SBA's page, You cannot apply for the COVID-19 EIDL, but you can apply for the normal EIDL. So how should
Okay.
one apply for that?
So it's a normal EIDL, it's a loan, so you should apply for that. It's just a loan. So disaster loan. So absolutely, if that is opened up, if that application opened up, I haven't personally checked it in the last few days. We know last Sunday or Sunday before, it's pretty much closed down. But if it is opened up, go apply for those.
Okay. And then if someone is self-employed, and so they do a self-employed SBA application and they enter 0 employees, should they reapply with a new SBA application showing 1 employee?
Yes, that's what I think Ms. Reeves asked the question. And yes, I would recommend apply again, because you don't want to take a risk. Fine, you have 2 applications. They will figure it out based on the federal ID number, and they will take the latest one because they knew something was wrong. Even there are many things that's been, once you make a mistake, it just doesn't allow you to go back. So there's only choice is to reapply. And there's another issue. Let's say in many times when you are doing a PPP with various banks and the IDL, and you used an email address in the first one and you wanted to correct it, many times it doesn't even allow you to use the same email address. So you need to use a separate email address or create an email address to apply for a second one. You'll have the same information or corrections, but sometimes the same email address doesn't take it. So I would recommend, have another email address of your business or personal. Use this different email address this time when you apply.
Sam, there's an old saying that you don't know what you don't know. So what is it that we don't know and we're not asking that you need to make sure we do know to help all of us?
That's a loaded question, my friend. I don't know a lot of things. I learn every day. And if I don't know, I always said I'll try to find out. What I don't know is very good. Always the business saying of that. I would say empower yourself with good quality advisors of the people. I do the same thing in my life. From all my life, when I was a student, I had 5 advisors. When I became executives, CEOs, even I had 4 advisors better than me. I mentor almost 10 kids now, and I mentor a lot of other people as well. So I do the same thing. So I need to, the things I don't know, I ask, what else is there? What should I be thinking? And get this wisdom from the people who've been there, who've done that, or been successful. And then make your own decision based on all the facts. It might be confusing with all these things, but you guys are all smarter. You can figure it out what's good for you and run with this. And just don't, one thing that I will tell from my business, don't analyze to paralyze. A lot of people have a tendency to get information, never makes a decision. Your time is against you in this case. So some of the things is pretty straightforward. Go do it. I have people still calling me. I said, can I apply for PPP? I said, please do. Don't wait. It's been up for a month. Go figure it out a way to apply. Whether you get it or not, I can't control that, but you got to apply first. If you're not applying, you're not going to get anything. And even for the loans, the same thing. And SBA loans, anything, you got to take the paperwork and apply for it first.
Okay. Well, Sam, again, thank you for sharing this valuable information. If you'd like to reach Sam, his information is in the chat box. I will also send it out with a link after the event. When we finish the recording, we'll send that out, and we'll send the information for both Sam and Deanna. And Sam, also, do you think there's going to be more than 8 weeks PPP?
That I don't know. Very good question. There are talks about it. It all depends on how we open the country back. And so, as Deanna was talking about, opening it up in phases. So more we get regular, I think the key to this, as Deanna was also saying, make sure we protect ourselves. Washing hand, using gloves and masks. Masks are very important. until we really get a medication. But we should really also, do our business wherever possible. We just can't stay at home. That's impossible for many businesses. So be cautious, take the precaution, social distancing, and do that. So more than 8 weeks or not, depend on because it's an unprecedented time. Nobody been through for the last 100 years. So we really don't know where we are going on these things and what's coming in the pipeline. I'm always hoping for the good, that hopefully we pass the worst, and we're looking forward to rebuilding.
Okay, we're going to give you a few more minutes to put questions in the chat box. And in the meantime, I'll tell you about the upcoming events. So our next event will be Navigating Financial Relief from COVID-19 for Nonprofits. It's on Tuesday, April the 28th. This is at 10 a.m. This is our event that was rescheduled because the night before the government made some changes. So this is specifically geared for nonprofits. So if you know a nonprofit that needs some information, please send this information their way. And you're always welcome to listen even if you're not a nonprofit. Also, Wednesday Wisdom on April the 29th will be at 11 a.m. instead of 10. And it's using data to drive growth, plus tips and resources for working from home. And this event is co-sponsored by the ATL Airport Chamber and the Noonan Coweta Chamber. So we've partnered to make sure that we can present this as a free Google webinar. And I don't see any more questions. So Sam, again, thank you for this valuable information. Everyone, take care. And as the great state of Georgia begins to open, please continue to follow the guidelines to be safe. The ATL Airport Chamber looks forward to seeing you at our next event. Bye for now.
Thank you, Ms. Scott.
You're welcome.